creep, the flames grow higher. Moonlit graves and evil schemes, fighting phantoms, haunting dreams. Echoes of forgotten screams, horror not as it all seems. Battle cries and blackened void, demons that I once enjoyed, now my strength they can't avoid. Living past I'm forced to destroy. I suppose the blood they crave, spirits risen from the grave, clawing beasts the souls they save. I'll be fighting till I cave, monsters hiding in my fears, bloody masks and deadly leers, fending off the painful jeers. Victory drowning in my tears. Battle cries and blackened void, demons that I once enjoyed, now a strength they can't avoid. Living past, I'm forced to destroy. 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 Moonlit graves and evil schemes, fighting phantoms, haunting dreams. Echoes of forgotten screams, horror not as it all seems. Battle cries and blackened void, demons that I once enjoyed, now my strength they can't avoid. Living past, I'm forced to destroy. To destroy. To destroy. To destroy. To destroy. To destroy.
Shadows crawl from the grave, whisper secrets dark and brave, eyes that pierce into the night. Monsters come, we must fight. Candles flicker, casting dread. Ghostly wails fill my head, chasing demons lost in time. Sanity a steep climb. Off with his head, she screamed. Blood moon's eerie gleam. Battle cries through the dark, leaving fear's deep mark. Echoes of sins long past, fighting shadows deep and fast. Blood-stained blade in hand, stand your ground, make a stand. Cursed whispers fill the air, spirits cry, beware, beware. Through the fog and through the flame, monsters here know my name. Off with his head, she screamed. Blood moon's eerie gleam. Battle cries through the dark, leaving fear's deep mark. Off with his head, she screamed. Blood moon's eerie gleam. Battle cries through the dark, leaving fear's deep mark. Echoes of sins long past, fighting shadows deep and vast. Blood-stained blade in hand, stand your ground, make us.
Alright, morning everybody, evening everybody, hell. Give me one moment, it looks like that fucked up. There we go. Yay! So, welcome to another game design and discussion stream. I'm Alan from Mr. Bitey's Gaming, as always. So, last time we finished up our Starlight Networks character. We've got 3 organizations left to finish for the initial 8. We have the Safe Haven Project, which is again a basically UN organization that is designed to go out and find a place for humanity. Their whole premise is, look, we've barely made it through the nuclear age. Every time we turn around, there's some idiot that has the power to wipe out humanity. The only way humanity as a species can survive is if we have humans other places. When the tears began opening around the world, and specifically when they realized these tears open to pocket dimensions, that seemed like the perfect answer. So, that is the Safe Haven. The Necessary, basically magical terrorists. Simple answer. Longer story. In the Shattered World, it's very much a world of the haves and the have-nots. You know, income inequality is a bitch. Now you have magical powers on top of that. The Necessary do a lot of good work. If you ask the average person what the Necessary is nowadays, oh, they're the guys running the soup kitchen. They're the guys protesting. They're the guys blah, 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 right? The Necessary initially began with a group of British convicts that were sent to Australia back in the 17 and 1800s. There are rumors that the organization still dabbles, shall we say, in things like that. To the average person, the Necessary were helpers. And then Ve Victis. The Ve Victis are our other religion-heavy organization, and they are the more materialistic ones. The Ve Victis genuinely believe, while most people believe, you know, becoming enhanced is a curse and I've lost access to my family's magic, blah, blah, blah. The Ve Victis are the other side of that coin. Every member of the Ve Victis, whatever else they believe in, they share this common belief. And that is that they are on the path of ascension, the path to deityhood. And enhanced to them is no different from a Hercules or, you know, some other demigod. I'm not going to say other cultures because frankly, I don't know them well enough to fuck it up. But these are our three remaining, so we're going to spin our picker wheel real quick. See what we get. Alright. So, that is the Necessary. Give me one moment. Alright, so just like before, I am going to quietly go through and build the character first. And then I'm going to explain what I did, why I did it, the choices I made, etc. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Professionalism in action. Oh, sorry about that. Alright, oh, let me Hold, please. Let's at least give y'all something moderately entertaining to listen to. Alright. Let's get to work. Two, three, four, five. Cool. Hey, time. Why would I get hit by copyright lawyers? No, wait a minute, wait a minute here. I don't want to get hit by copyright. I'm not singing the Beatles. I don't think I'm singing the Beatles. Ah. Ah. I'm tracking now. I see what you mean. I am not the most observant sometimes. My bad. Alright. Where the fuck was I? Enhancement. Hawkeye. Actually, let me check something. My SHI Merc. They also went Hawkeye, so we're not going to go that specifically. Done. You're not fucking wrong, dude. You're not wrong. I like Terror of the Streets. Let's do security. And Terror of the Streets, again, Ferocity 3, Specialist Streetwise. maybe. No, we're gonna do... What was the other one? Let's look at the others. Actually, I like this one. Oh yeah. Resolve 2 Specialist Intimidate. Which we already have. We just need the resolve. So, Entrepreneur, 3 ranks. We'll do Knowledge, we'll do Streetwise, and we'll do Persuasion. Ah! Hey, Witchy, thanks for the raid. How you doing tonight? Welcome to the stream. Forgot what I was doing. Oh, Saucy Sorceress is raiding with a party of 6. Sorry. As I said earlier, I am not the most observant person. I am blind as shit. Sorry about that. Saucy, how you doing? Also, Witchy, how you doing? It's good to see you too. So, tonight, Mondays are awesome. Well, you picked a great night for it. I need to stop looking over here. Long story short, the way I have my computer set up, my webcam is set over my main monitor, and this is where I'm usually looking as I'm working, but I have Twitch pulled up here on my right, so when I want to talk to somebody on Twitch, I naturally turn and look to see what the hell you wrote away from the camera. But anyway, so today, Mondays, is our game design and game discussion stream. Tonight we are working on character design. When the game launches, one of the things it's going to launch with is basically a quick start guide, right? It's going to be a little cheaper than the core rulebook. It's going to have a short adventure. Basically, it's a beginner box. Calamity, hi. Good to see ya. Hey, Noel, how you doing? And again, anyone else I've missed, it's nice to see ya. So what I'm doing now, when you do character creation, one of the choices you have to make is there are 8 organizations that you can join. You join one of them. If you've played World of Darkness games like Vampire the Masquerade or Changeling the Dreaming, they're kind of like the Kith or the Vampire clans in the sense that members of the Ardor of the White Eye tend to be like this, right? They're rough archetypes. They are not classes, and you can absolutely play against type. SHI, for example, Supernatural Hunters Incorporated, are very much the overkill is underrated organization. If you want to play a medic, you can still go SHI and be a legitimately playable character. But what I'm doing tonight, again, I'm making these characters. I am going to be quiet for just a couple more minutes. Feel free to ask any questions that you have in chat. I will answer them as quick as I can. What we've been doing, because as you can see, I have a tendency to fucking ramble, is I build the character first. I let you see the design that I'm doing, and then when I'm done, that's when I will go back and explain, okay, here's why we did this, here's why we did that, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I will get into the nuts and bolts of what each decision was and why. What the key attributes are, what they represent, etc. So, you caught me as I was putting in my ranks. Streetwise, persuasion, and knowledge. Done. We already qualify for that, and now that our Streetwise is there, we can delete you. Nice. Hi to the fiance. Good job on the writing. I hope it all goes well. Until morale improves. Done. Done. Salary bonus +4. 4 + 2 is 6, not 4. Organization, we've already decided that. Skill is Streetwise. God. Not I, Eyes of the Tear, Shadow Step. Not yet have specialist in knowledge. We do. That's really good. That's really good. Is it worth that? Let me look at the other ones. We already qualify. That's fun. And what was our last shadow step? No, we're gonna go with not I. We already qualified for it. Done, done, done. Rank 1 for now. You know, we all have our hobbies. Alright. Destinies. Because we have not I... Yeah, let's go the tower. Drawbacks I'm not going to worry about now. We now have 20 XP to spend. Also, for my new viewers, in the Shattered World, real quick and then I'll go back to what I'm doing. Spells for players don't really exist. However, it is replaced with what we're calling destiny abilities. The destiny abilities, they are divided into 12 destinies at game launch. Each destiny overall will have 12 destiny abilities divided into 4 tiers. Each of the destinies are based off one of the major arcana of the tarot. So, the Lover's Destiny, the Tower Destiny, etc. As the game expands, more destinies will be launched, and current destinies will be expanded. So, first and foremost, we need to get our resolve to 2. We are now a legal character. Swordfish, welcome to the stream. It is all good. Thank you for raiding in with Saucy and the others. I appreciate it. Give me just a minute to finish what I'm doing, and then ow! One day I will remember to turn that shit down. Whoever followed me, I don't see it, but thank you, I love you. So... how about... we haven't done this yet. I like that. So we're gonna 13. And this was stealth, sleight of hand, or streetwise. Well, that's a fucking easy one. Nice. I would absolutely go to that hobby shop. Let's look at our no, let's look at Tarot Destinies. I like Man the Barricades. I like Man the Barricades. We're gonna go with that. That costs 5 times the tier. That was a tier 1. Now that's another... That... I don't have any ranks in Perform. I do like Grace of Love. Is that also... That's also a stamina too. Hey, Super, thank you. And yes, the Shattered World is my game. I'm designing it. It will be available for sale this year. I'm still very much at the I'm tweaking a million little things behind the scenes. But... And yeah, I've sunk more time, blood, sweat, and tears into this than I care to remember. But it's been a fucking blast. I love it. There are parts of it I hate, but that's anything. This has been fun. But give me 1 minute to finish because I am almost done. And you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to take Aggressive Banter as the last one. Okay, now calculated stats. 2, 4, 6. We have a stamina of 8. We have actions of 3. Our speed is 6. We have 3 destiny, so 3 destiny points. Evasions per turn is 1. This is going to be a character who is, well, first, where was it? Craft. We have nothing. Melee, nothing. Knowledge. We're sticking with the occult. Cool. Okay, what were our skills? Alright, so I will close. Alright, so at this point, the character is basically done. I'll do some cleaning up off screen. I lied. 1 second. Your streetwise synergy bonus now applies to either sleight of hand or intimidate. Obviously, we're choosing intimidate. Cool. Alright, so this is our rough character. So before we go over the choices I made and what everything is, let's go over the system a little bit. So, the Shattered World, let me turn the music down quite a bit as well. Alright, so the Shattered World is a 2d12 classless system. You do not make a level 1 rogue, a level 2 fighter. You make your character. So, you put all your XP as you get it directly into whatever skills or attributes that you want. When I was designing the game, one of the first things I sat down and looked at was the idea of classes. Why classes exist from a mechanical perspective. Did I want them in the system? I ended up saying no. Classes are very much just a shorthand for what you want to do. So if I like playing the sneaky, stabby, dirty tricks guy, I know I'll just grab a rogue. They're going to do basically what I want, and then I can modify it from there, right? They're a good chassis to build off of. What I tried to avoid specifically with classes is I really don't like it when a game gets bigger and then they have whole books that do absolutely nothing but make minor tweaks to a class. I'd rather just make books that give you shit, that let you do cool things, because in the end, that's the point. So, 2d12, unlike a game like D&D or Pathfinder, where you have a whole suite of dice, or a World of Darkness game like Vampire the Masquerade, where you have a shitload of 1 dice, all you will ever need to play are 2 12-sided die. When you're looking at your character sheet, key attributes, these are your basic, again, attributes. I don't want to use the word to define the word, but you know what I mean. So, your attributes are ferocity, agility, endurance, mental acuity, and resolve. The last 4 are fairly easy to understand. Agility is your hand-eye coordination, your dexterity, your speed, etc. Endurance is your ability to take a hit. Mental acuity is how smart I are. And then resolve is basically your mental fortitude, right? That's your ability to see things through even when they suck. Ferocity. The important thing for ferocity is what it is not. Ferocity is not a measure of strength. Ferocity is your willingness to hurt the other person. So, that big 300-pound gang member that picks up a car and hurls it at somebody, yes, they are using ferocity. That 100-pound soaking wet mage who screams in anger and hurls a fireball 3 times the size of her body down an alleyway, that is also ferocity, right? The martial artist that just stares at you for a minute, sizes you up, and then punches through you, that is also ferocity. So, again, ferocity, your willingness to hurt the other person, not necessarily a measure of strength. So, when the game launches, there are going to be 3 modes. Tactical mode, navigation mode, and stratagem mode. These are the types of play, right? Tactical mode is what you think of when you think of a tabletop RPG. That's where you shoot the bad guys, that's where you slay the princess and save the dragon, that's where you try to shenanigan your way into the mayor's ball. That's your normal gameplay. In universe, I mentioned it a little earlier. I can't remember if I mentioned it before you guys showed up, my raiders, but basically tears have begun opening around the world, these rips in reality. Now, these rips in reality do a couple things. The game is urban fantasy, so cell phones, skyscrapers, computer systems, those all exist, but so do mages. Right? Magic in the Shattered World is very bloodline based. So think less D&D wizard and more sorcerer, right? More Avatar the Last Airbender. If you want to learn Fireball, you need to be part of the family that knows how to manipulate fire magic. But what these and that's the other thing in urban fantasy, your Jim Butchers, your Buffy the Vampire Slayer, your whatever, right? Your Harry Potters, it's a common trope in urban fantasy for you've got your magical world over here and your modern world over here, and the two really don't fucking interact. I never liked that. Never liked that. I like it when things interact. It's nice. So, in the Shattered World, magic not only exists, it's always been known to exist. The most powerful magical families are also politicians, right? They are the ones that control either directly or indirectly what's happening around them. So, back to the tears. Why this is important. The tears do two things predominantly. They can open anywhere. It may be a tear that opens maybe the size of a small building and you can drive vehicles through, and it may be open for a year. It may be the size of a quarter and open for 5 minutes and then close. In universe, there's no way to tell. Now, when the book launches, there's going to be ways to set that up, but in universe, lore-wise, no one fucking knows. When a tear opens, number one, if you can stabilize it and go through, it leads to a pocket dimension. That's land, that's resources, that's stuff. It's a chance for a fresh start away from the stagnant social order. It's a gold rush. There are a lot of people willing to make the risk the trip into a pocket dimension for a new start. Here's the downside. Again, in this world, magic is everything. Right? Again, it's a common trope in urban fantasy. The Dresden Files by Butcher is a great example of it, where magic and tech really don't interact. In the Shattered World, there is no difference between magic and tech. Not really. You can't buy a toaster that doesn't have at least a little bit of arcane power behind it. So, when a tear occurs, if you are close to it, you run the risk of becoming an enhanced. All player characters are enhanced. Becoming an enhanced gets you access to the new Destiny abilities. Only enhanced can have them. And again, it makes you a player character. The downside is it cuts you off from magic, internal magic, as it is understood by this society. You could have been this world's version of Gandalf and Harry Dresden and whoever you can think of, all rolled into one, right? I'm sorry, you're a level 1 peasant now. Deal with it. No magic. You can use an item that has magic stored in it, sure, but what happens when the batteries run out? You don't have magic anymore. That leads to a lot of change, a lot of upheaval in this world, a lot of fear. But that is the whole thing of the tears. The core rulebook and the initial meta plot for the game centers around trying to figure out what is going on, why these tears are appearing, how do we stop them, how do we use them, etc. So, let's go back to the mechanics for a minute. Key attributes. Your attributes run on a scale of 1 to 5 with one exception. So again, 1 is I'm a baby, and 5 is max human potential. Here's the exception. When you become enhanced, your enhancement affects one of your senses, your sight, your touch, your soul, etc. Each one of those, do I still have it pulled up? Yes. So, our character that we were making was a sight enhanced. Their sense of sight improves. Their ferocity goes up by 1. That includes their max ferocity. So while everybody else can only have a ferocity of 5, you, because of your enhancement, are slightly superhuman. You can go up to a 6. Important stats, actions. So Again, I started playing with Vampire the Masquerade. I started playing with D&D, technically D&D Advanced, but really 3.x is where I really got into D&D as a kid. They were very big on standard action and simple action and intermediate action and Bob's action and screw all that. In tactics mode, your actions per turn are based off your ferocity. In other modes, it will be based off other stats. So ferocity is not the end-all be-all. But anything you want to do is an action. So if you want to draw your pistol and fire, that's 2 actions. If you want to run behind some cover, take cover, and then plant an improvised explosive, that's 3 actions. If you want to fire at your opponent 3 times, that's 3 actions. You can absolutely do that. You're going to take a penalty every time after the first, but you can do that. Speed is how many squares you can move. Pretty self-explanatory. Destiny points. Every time you learn a destiny ability, you gain 1 destiny point. And then we did Grace of Love. Grace of Love, anytime I want to use it, costs 1 destiny. Or 1 destiny point. Every short rest, your destiny points refill. What we're calling in this game tactical pause. Tactical pauses. So, evasions. Here's another big change for those of you that are familiar with, again, a Dungeons & Dragons style game. In D&D, you have your armor class, right? Your AC. And if my AC is 18, and 30 people swing at me in a turn, my AC is 18 against all of them. Your evasions is the max number of times per turn you can attempt to dodge an attack. It's base 1, and it's based off your aptitude, your ranks in evasiveness. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Jeopardy is over. Yeah. That's very nice, Noel. I like that. That's a good idea. Again, I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but if I haven't, once you get to where this is playable, let me know and I'll gladly playtest. That sounds cool as shit. The important thing for evasions is, again, you can be overwhelmed. This character is not made to stand up in a straight, direct fight. If multiple enemies attack him at once, any other attack after the first is an automatic hit. And then armor. Armor is damage reduction. Now, the important thing to remember for evasions and armor, evasions more than armor, but that also applies to adversaries, the monsters you fight. Adversaries, unless otherwise stated, can only attempt to dodge twice around. So focus fire, choke points, tactical gameplay is very important. Salary, rather than having to manage gold or dollars or euros or whatever, I abstracted it a little bit, so we have a salary system. Every 2 weeks your salary refreshes back to whatever your salary is. Now, in the meantime, you can complete minor jobs that give you temporary salary. You can find and sell trade goods to increase, to give you some wealth. say, for example, I have 8 salary, and I've spent 6 of it, so I'm down to 2. At the end of the 2 weeks, I go back to 8 salary. I don't get 8 salary, I go back to 8. The reason for this is it's representative of, again, I didn't spend all of it on gear. I got nickeled and dimed buying the other little things that I need to survive that the game doesn't have to abstract, right? I went out and ate dinner at a nice restaurant one time, etc. So stamina. I used to teach tabletop RPGs to new players, and this is going to sound crazy, but the hardest stat to explain to new players that I found, at least in my experience, was hit points. Especially after level 1, when the bigger classes, your barbarians and the like, get a shitload of hit points. Alright, I pulled my bow and my arrow and I'm gonna shoot this orc in the head. Alright, I hit. I do 10 points of damage. I shot him in the head. Awesome. He has 42 hit points. He's down to 32. But I shot him in the head. Yes, you shot him, but great. But I got a natural 20. That's a crit, right? That's like an auto kit. No. So with this, we divided it out. Survivability. Your stamina is basically your ability to withstand the normal bumps and bruises that you get in combat that you don't really realize you're even getting, right? That's when, if you're watching a boxing match and one guy throws a punch and the other guy kind of rolls and takes it on the shoulder, and it looks like it stings a little bit, but it doesn't really faze him. That's stamina. Once you hit 0 stamina, any additional damage fills these tracks. You'll notice there are only 6. Bruised, impaired, minor wound, major wound, unconscious, and dead. Once you are dead, that's it. When the game launches, there will be no raised dead. There's no true resurrection. That may change in a later book, but death, at least with the core rulebook, is permanent. Now, there are a couple speak with dead-like abilities, but that's it. So, moving on to skills. Skills range from 0, meaning you're not trained in it, you're inept, to 7. 7 is pinnacle. The explanation I usually give is, say we're all sitting down and we're deciding who the best composer is from the 1800s, right? We're talking about Beethoven and Bach and etc., etc. We're talking about those guys. You and I may not agree that Beethoven is better than Bach, but you and I will agree that Beethoven and Bach both need to be on that fucking list. That's pinnacle. That's 7. If I have a 7 in athletics, I'm one of the best of my generation at my sport. I'm an Olympic level athlete. When we're talking about sprinting, we're talking about your Usain Bolts. When we're talking about basketball, we're talking about your Michael Jordans, your LeBron James, your blah, blah, blah. When we're talking about boxing, we're talking Tyson or Nassim Hamed, or we're talking Mayweather, Holyfield, etc. We may disagree. Yeah, I think Holyfield's a better boxer than Tyson. I think Mayweather's overrated. But we all agree that on that list, they're there. Yes, thank you. That was one of my main goals. There are multiple ways to end a fight. One of my first playtest characters, the character concept was just shit talker. And I went through a good 30-40 combats with them without using a weapon, just talking. And meaningfully contributing to the combat. Where even the other playtesters were like, yeah, this person literally did something, right? Like, it's not just they were there, it's we may not have won without this person, just like we probably wouldn't have won without the gunslinger. There are ways to stand back and be the more traditional fireball mage. There are ways to, again, be the shooty tactical guy. Melee is still very much supported. You can absolutely play a quote-unquote sword and board fighter in this system. You'll be using a riot shield, but you can. One of the current playtesters, if you happen to make our Sunday game at 10 a.m. Eastern, Lino is wearing full plate mail. It's historical reenactment gear. Their character was a historical reenactor. And shit went down, and now that's what they're wearing in combat. They fight with a spear, etc., etc. We've got another character that walks around. He has his iPad out at all times, and he's doing a lot of tech-related shit, hacking into systems, so on and so forth. RSP, I want to explain this real quick, and the specialties. So, RSP, Rookie, Specialist, Pinnacle. When you put... Let me rephrase this. So, Rookie, Specialist, Pinnacle are basically a rough estimate of your power level in that skill. If you have 1 to 3 ranks in a skill, you're a Rookie. You're a flashlight holder. You've started learning it. At 3, you're competent enough to do it day to day, but you're not great. Specialist. Not only are you competent enough to do this job on a day-to-day basis, but you've started specializing in minor aspects of the skill. You're not just a composer, you're a composer that specializes in using fucking canon on the stage, right? That kind of thing. And then again, P is pinnacle. You've reached the upper limits of what humans can do with this skill. Now, there are 4 skills: firearms, melee, craft, and knowledge, that are basically hub skills. When I get my first rank in firearms, for example, I will pick a specialty. Handguns, shotguns, long arms, or exotic firearms. Things like flamethrowers, grenade launchers, etc. If I have, for example, this character has handgun specialty, they are great with handguns. If they pick up a rifle, yeah, they can use their +3, but they don't get any of the special abilities that they would get if they were using a handgun. If they later purchase the long arm specialty to use a rifle, they would still maintain that 3 firearms. So it's not like I have a 3 in handguns and then I have to spend more skills to get ranks in long arms, and then I have to spend more skill points if I want ranks in exotic fight. No, you use the same skill. Same with craft, same with knowledge, and same with melee. Our offensive and defensive armaments. One of the things you'll notice, and again, quick story time. Back in the day, I am not a big gun fan. I have used them. I know how to use them. I'm competent. Not great. I don't like them. But I at least know which end of the gun is the bad end. I had a roommate who absolutely, Second Amendment is the best amendment. I love guns. I would marry a gun if I could. Like, that was his thing. And that's fine. We all have our things. I can be crazy about some shit too. That was his thing. I'm not judging him. Not for that. Other things. You know what you did. But he was running a modern D20 game, and they put out an arsenal book, and it was supposed to be full of accurate firearms for a modern setting. And this was the only TTRPG book I ever saw this dude pre-order. He was hyped, and he got it. And there were like, the first little section was handguns, and there was like 75 handguns, and every fucking one of them was the same with a different name. Every one of them did 1d6. Every one of them had the concealed trait. Etc., etc. Right? It was, one or two may have had minor changes, but it was a book of hundreds of firearms. And there was really like 6 when you got right down to it. Oh, he was very much an ammo-sexual. And again, I'm not judging him for that. I'll judge him for other shit, but that, he was harmless. He was the guy that would always try to get his friends to go to the range with him. And I get it. It was important to him, right? Like, I went with him once or twice. I don't get it. Guns to me are not a toy. They're a tool. They're something you have to treat with the utmost respect and care. You don't fuck around with them. When you draw one, you are making the choice to end a life, and that is not a choice you should make lightly. That's not a choice anyone should make lightly. He and I very much had a difference of opinion on that. But, again, I'm not bashing him. Not for that. My other problem, and I swear to God, I don't mean to just bash Dungeons and Dragons. I know I've brought it up a couple of times. And this is across all, this is not my D&D 5e rant. This is D&D as a whole. But when your game has 55% of the market, and when people recognize the term D&D more than they do TTRPG, I'm sorry, you set yourself up to get bashed and be a comparison. So, Dungeons and Dragons goes up to 20th level. I can't speak on the new 2024 version of D&D, but in previous editions, yeah, you could go up to 20. Yeah, you even had epic level, and I've played epic level, and it's a thing. Really, most campaigns end in that 10 to 12 range, right? Anything past that basically devolves into Rocket Tag. With equipment in D&D, you get your dagger, you get your corset dagger, you get your great sword, right? Whatever. And then at like level 2, maybe level 3, it becomes masterwork for a +1 to attack. Awesome. And then between 3 and 5, it gets a +1 bonus. Awesome, now it's +1 to attack and damage. Only I'm level 4 to 5. I'm a third to half of the way through my character's career. And my sword has a bonus. And I can't get any of the cool flashy abilities until I have that +1 bonus. That's fucking stupid. So, in the Shattered World, your character is basically a mercenary. More or less, right? Obviously, make your character the way you want, but the way the world is set up, you are very much in that kind of mercenary setting, that mercenary mindset. You're doing jobs to try and pay the bills, stay alive, face the threats because no one else can, get paid. That type of person does not shop off the rack for the shit they need to survive. You just don't. So my goal was to make what we're calling the modification system, the weapon system, modifiable at character creation. While I didn't go through it on this stream, you will get, based on whatever your salary is, double that in starting cash. If you want to buy modifications for your weapon or your armor, you absolutely can. And then, unlike a D&D where you have to get that +1 bonus first, the +1 is baked into the system. So every modification I get for my weapon will give it an automatic +1 to attack and damage. That way the player doesn't have to choose, do I do something cool, or do I get the mathematical bonus I need to be able to competently do my job? Get the cool shit. That's why we're playing games like this, right? Nobody's like, oh my god, guys, I have a +1 to hit. Holy shit. Right? It's, I've got Vorpal. I have a chance to automatically decapitate my guy. That is a horrible weapon enchantment. But it's iconic for a reason. It's the definition of cool shit. So that was our goal. Make it so that you could get modifications at level 1, and make it to where, I say level 1, you know what I mean, at character creation, and make it so that you don't have to choose between being able to do your job and doing cool shit when you do your job. Yeah. So one of the other things I'm doing, and this is going to take a moment of explanation. Any tabletop RPG, any game in general, power creep is a thing. Right? It's, even if you're doing your best to avoid it, you will learn new things as a game designer, as a game developer. You will realize how your system works a little better as you're going through. It's just the nature of the beast. So one of the things we did, and I gave this example earlier with the Destinies. Destinies right now, I'll scroll up to the lovers and use that as an example. There are 4 tiers, 3 abilities in each tier. There are 12 destinies in total. The lovers, the world, the tower, the judgment, etc. As major books release, more destinies will be made available. Every time they are released, there will also be a new set of destiny abilities for previous destinies, to make it so that we hopefully never reach the point where, man, I like the lover's destiny, but that came out 7 books ago, and there's really just no fucking reason to ever pick it, because this new book that Alan's trying to sell has the Lovers Plus, and that's just factually better, or objectively better than the Lovers, right? We want to avoid that. You'll also see when you look at it, and again, merits are like this, destiny abilities, most of them, not all. You have your effect, specialist, and pinnacle. None shall keep us apart based off empathy. If I only have a rookie level empathy, that's what it does. Once I get my 4 ranks in empathy, now this ability activates. That's how we're approximating leveling up without having a level system. So, that is our character. That is a rough explanation of the mechanics. Oh, let me go back. The 3 modes. I started to explain them, and then I stopped. Did I? Yes, I did. Cool. So, is it lagging a bit? Alright. Okay, if it gets unwatchable, let me know. We've been having our problem with our internet at night lately. I had thought it got worked out, but try refreshing as well. That may help. I'll also do that in a few if it keeps being bad. So 3 modes. Tactics mode is, again, as I said, that's your D&D, your Pathfinder, your World of Darkness. That's your traditional tabletop RPG play. That's where most of your games will take place. Navigation mode. When you go through a tear, it's a pocket dimension, right? There are no GPS satellites. There are no almanacs. You are the first people through. It is quite literally a new world. If you want to know where something is, get to walking. If the tear was big enough and you could drive a vehicle through, obviously take your vehicle. But navigation mode is exploration mode. That's where you find out where things are. That's where you explore the world beyond the tear. And the game is set up to where you can effortlessly move between all 3 modes. Mode 3 is stratagem mode. That's where you handle the between the scenes things. So that's your crafting, that's your those kinds of things, your downtime actions. But that's also settlement building. The game at launch will have settlement building. When I'm typically describing the game to new people, I usually explain it as, picture the heavy tactics and crunch of an OGL style game, a D&D, a Pathfinder, etc., combined with the aesthetics of a World of Darkness, a Shadowrun, or a Cyberpunk, combined with a little bit of Rifts and SimCity, because I like to be fucking complicated. So, the game is set up to where you can be in the middle of helping to build a building in settlement building, and then now you have to do a car chase because someone stole something from the building you were working on. Now you hop in your vehicle and chase them. They disappear, so now you've got to explore the territory a little bit to try and find them. You find them, and then you go right into combat or right into persuading them to give it back, whatever. So, at this point, I know I've talked a lot. Any questions for me about the Shattered World? I will give it just a minute, and then we will spin our picker wheel for the last two to be made, or last two to be chosen. I'll give it just another minute. Alright, so what I was doing, again, the characters I'm making are all for our beginner box. One character for each organization, each with a different play style. We've already done most of them. Our organizations are the Ardor of the White Eye, basically the magical Illuminati. They are the movers and shakers. They are the strongest magical families. They are the ones that control the pulse of society. A common phrase for the Ardor of the White Eye: we are not mere kings and queens. We are not that little. That is the mindset of them. Keepers of the Garden, they are a secular religious organization. They started out as a Catholic order similar to the Dominicans or the Jesuits, but they've since officially broken away from the Catholic Church. They'll accept members of any religion. Basically, their premise is, if you look at most religions, every one of them has some type of commandment to keep the garden, right? To maintain the world. Why would I turn away a good gardener just because we disagree on the name of God? That doesn't make sense. So the Keepers of the Garden are very much protectors of the natural order. Most of them view the Tears as just another section of the garden to tend. Obviously, when you make your character, you can have them have a different opinion, but that's the organization as a whole. Starlight Networks, Evil Amazon, or, Amazon, they are very much your multinational conglomeration that gets you what you need in completely legitimate ways. Remember, corporate overlords, I love you. Supernatural Hunters Incorporated, they are very much the overkill is underrated types. Very much the ammosexuals. They are the ones that, if there are 100 zombies and I kill 99 of them, all that happens is a week from then, there's 100 more zombies. So absolutely nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. The morning after, street preachers. Street exorcists, more to the point. Again, this is a world where magic exists, where spirits can rise from the dead. All tech, as I said, has a little bit of magic arcane power behind it. That can aggravate the soul and cause someone to not rest. One of the things about the morning after is, if somebody dies without being properly mourned, that's where several adversaries come from, right? Like, that's where some spirits can come back. So the morning after are a pro bono professional mourning society that looks after those who die forgotten, to let their soul pass on to wherever it's going to go. For a lot of them, if you've seen the Keanu Reeves version of Constantine, that scene near the beginning is spoiler free as possible, where he's got the keychain with like 36 different symbols on it, and he's just kind of flipping through them until he finds the right one to fuck with the demon that he's hunting. That's a really good representation of the morning after. The Safe Haven Project we went over earlier. They are basically a UN organization. Their whole reason for existence is every time we turn around, humanity is on the brink of destruction, whether it's nukes, whether it's mages gone wrong, whether it's somebody trying to open a portal to the 7th fucking dimension. Somebody's trying to end humanity. The only way humanity can survive is if we find a safe place, a safe haven for parts of humanity, so that if something bad happens, we will at least survive. While the project was started before the emergence of the tears in universe first started appearing 5 years ago. So it's still very recent. While the Safe Haven Project predates these tears, they absolutely have become more prominent with the appearance of the tears. The necessary, as we mentioned earlier, in a world of... if the Ardor of the White Eye are the magical haves, the necessary are the have-nots. While everybody in this world has access to magic, for 99% of people, I have magic translates to I can use telekinesis. I can lift my cell phone off my desk a couple feet. I have magic. If I break my ankle, it heals in 5 weeks instead of 6. I have magic. I can glance at a dish and know exactly what kind of spices to add to it to make it taste the best. Prestidigitation level, cantrip level stuff. The necessary exists to represent those that don't have the power to have power. And then this, most people are very leery of the tears. They don't want to lose what little magic they have. The Vae Victus genuinely believe that becoming an enhanced, a player character, is a path to deityhood. In their minds, they are no different from a Perseus or a Heracles or insert demigod here, right? So that's them. Right now, we have 2 organizations left. We have the Safe Haven Project and Vae Victus. So I am going to spin. And the Vae Victus it is. So, we are not going to start it tonight. Unfortunately, it's too close to our end time. But our next character sheet will be the Vae Victus. Again, we will be continuing this next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Our stream schedule, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Wait a sec. Yes, 4th of July is Friday. So, Tuesday and Thursday, the 1st and the 3rd, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing what I call Bitey's Breaks, and that's where I play another game in the urban fantasy genre. And as we play, we compare it to the Shattered World. We talk game design, generally talk shit. I rant a lot, I swear a lot, etc. We've been playing Expedition 33 Clair Obscure, and we will continue to do so for now. This Saturday is not a Super Destructo stream, so our next stream after that will be Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Yes. Satellite nail dropper. Gonna have to find a way to work that into the game. But 10 a.m. Eastern will be our Shattered World playtest. I've got a couple people that I'm actually running through a game, demonstrating the skills, how it works, etc., etc. So, at this point, I am going to start a raid to another tabletop RPG stream. Give me just 1 minute. Am I already following them? Yes, I am. So. Let's see if they accept. Because I've learned that apparently there's a way to not accept raids. And I had one night where I was trying to do a raid and the first, like, 8 people that I clicked on were like, no, we don't accept raids. So we're going to be doing a raid to Nat 10s. They are doing character creation for Cyberpunk. Thank you again to everyone who stopped by tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I cannot understate how much I appreciate your support. Otherwise, y'all take care, be safe. I'll see you next time.